pushing it. We had some diligent board members today, I believe. Has everyone had an opportunity to review all the vouchers?
Yes.
Yes? George, I don't know if you saw this.
Yes.
I think you're aware of it.
Very much, yes.
So do we have a motion from the trustees to adopt the vouchers, or are there any questions about them and abstracts and reports?
Motion to adopt the.
Make a motion?
Make
Do we have a
motion to
second?
adopt them, yeah.
Second from Cody. Any corrections or deletions from those vouchers? No? All those in favor?
Aye.
So passed. Department reports, I usually don't put it out, but you know, we have a constant challenge with flushing the hydrants, and when we do it and when we don't do it. It's been under my impression, unless that has changed, that we used to do it twice a year. Given the usage, we have to do it 3 times a year. We're trying to figure out that. And we're gonna use the Savvy Citizen, whatever other forms of communication to get the word out, so you don't ruin the laundry, you don't get upset, you don't understand what the heck is going on with the yellow water today. I forgot that they were flushing, but it is a vital part of the maintenance of this water system. So we are gonna attempt to do a better job to get that out. So, notice of hydrant flushing is here, and that will be posted. Rick, Robin, any other way we're posting it? And around the village, and you'll see it in post office, things of that nature. And pass it on to your neighbors, please, remind them. What? Well, how about the next one? The first one, no.
What date?
Do we pick a date? April 20th to the 22nd, for those that are here today.
Is
I know it's the school is closed.
That's Sunday.
Is Easter the 20th?
Yeah.
It's Sunday night, they're gonna start at midnight because the school is closed Monday, which is one
We
of
have the
our
extra holiday,
varying,
yeah.
considerations. And it's the end of Passover.
But do you?
Passover is over, and school is closed, and I believe that the water department, those are the parameters they use. And we're in desperate need of
Yeah, we definitely need to do a water flushing. I'm just wondering if we could start it on the Monday instead of the Sunday, because just speaking as a family spring, you know, like somebody who navigates spring break, that very last night, people might, if it's a holiday, people might still be having family with them. Like it seems tight to me.
But it's gonna start after midnight.
It'll start after midnight.
12:01
So it's
a.m.
really Monday.
12:01 a.m.
Right, but she's saying people are hanging out in a shower at 12:31 a.m.
Yeah, cause
So
Sunday,
it's spring break.
I mean,
End of the holiday.
if it wasn't a holiday, I wouldn't worry as much, but because it's like Easter Sunday and people have their family and it seems like people would go home on Monday, they're
What?
leaving on Monday.
You wanna try 7 a.m.?
No, it still wouldn't change that. I think the major consideration was the school.
Yeah.
Uh,
What is the concern about the school?
It messes them up at the school, fountains, everything at the school, so they need an extra day to flush when the kids go back to school. And I think that's what we based our decision. And we were thinking that even though people may be here for Easter, most people will be gone, as Passover is over, and it's Saturday night.
So is it April
Is it
20th?
the location that's a concern? Can the location be changed? Is what?
No, not location, they'll start on Main Street,
Okay.
classically, and then go to, that's why it takes 2 days. They'll start with the main on Main Street. And just by the Tuesday, that's cleared for the school, and then they do all the other ones.
So Sunday through, so April 20th, Sunday midnight. through-
Sunday at midnight, which is really Monday morning,
Through Monday, the
through
entire
Tuesday.
Monday.
Well, entire Monday would be flush.
And then Tuesday will be good.
And Tuesday it should be good.
And I'm not opposed, I was just questioning,
Yeah,
that's all.
well, that was what we based it on, the parameters that we used. Okay, that's just an announcement. Thank you.
There's no good time.
Vote on, we have a letter on the park grant we received. Nope. Vote on quotes from Think Equipment. I missed that.
Yep.
Do we have any comments or discussion?
That's these two, the two.
Yep.
These, yeah.
Yeah, this is,
just a. Well, we should change the procurement policy.
yeah, this is news to me.
Okay. Any comments about it, or anybody have any expertise?
I do, if it's legitimate, do it.
Okay.
Get yours broken, fix it.
Do we have a motion to move forward with this repair?
I motion.
Second.
Yes, second by Rebecca, all those in favor? James?
Here you go.
So I think the public is aware, the Upper Lake Park Grant has been progressing. It's 1.3 million. We have the match already in the 1.3 million.
Yes, matches, no match
We,
required.
we received disbursement of $236,351.31, submitted disbursement for $808,895, now pending. Project is 75% complete. Concrete work needs to be fixed and completed, paving yet to be completed, final landscaping, playground equipment to be finished, Blue Spruce to begin work again this week. And we have a meeting tomorrow with Studio A, who is the engineer that was hired at the beginning of the project. They're gonna come in and assess, the concrete that was put in at, I guess, at the end of the construction season last year that doesn't seem appropriate. Make whatever recommendations for repairs and to continue to move the project ahead.
And that'll be at the cost of the contractor, not the village. Correct, Norman?
Yes.
All right, under the DRI, the village received 1.3,073,000 grant, no match from the taxpayers of the village of Tannersville. Portion of those funds were going to be used to continue sidewalk access into the Upper Lake Park, and also portions that had to pave the Upper Lake Road into the drop-off area of the new park. Because the original park grant with the change in construction cost was not, those funds were not adequate to do the Envision project. I think Reed actually was part of it, along with Mr. Cashman and many others in the community, of what the vision of that park was. COVID hit, those prices ballooned. That 1.3 did not go as far as we thought it would go. So we took some of the conductivity funds from the DRI, which required no match, and added that into the project to get in there. So we got as much playground as we could get, was the feeling, and then used the road work and the sidewalk conductivity money to connect that park to South Main Street. We have a meeting on Thursday with the engineers. They have been instructed that this is gonna happen this summer, no matter what. Department of State is coming to Tannersville. They're going to assess the solar project and the conductivity. I told them we were gonna open this park, we are, fingers crossed, by this summer, and we are gonna have paved sidewalk, safe access to this park prior to the opening, which means that they have to accelerate their award process, accelerate their review process, so that we can get that accomplished. That is what I'm shooting for. And they immediately scheduled a meeting, so it will be an in-person meeting. We've already hired the surveyors to plot out the land for the Department of State. They're coming along with the village engineers on Thursday. Everyone present on the village's schedule. Otherwise, you'll read about it in the papers. Because this DRI project was supposed to really revitalize Tannersville, and we can't have it turn into a bureaucracy that doesn't do what it was intended to do. That's my position, and that's what I'll fight for.
I'm with him.
There's additional funds after this is done. Ideally, we want to get Tompkins and South Main, at least to the park, with the blacktopping and the sidewalk, those access points, by the opening and the completion of the park, which would be this recreation season, this summer season. The additional sidewalks and everything else, I'm not saying I'm putting on the back burner, but they aren't as vital to access of the park and diverting people off Main Street to get to the park safely on the sidewalks. So those would be how much funds are left and how far we can get. And I think the other future streets are looking at Railroad, taking South Main further down to the park. There is a small section at the intersection by the DOT highway garage that was put in, completing it down to that part on the east side of South Main. I paced it, some places are narrow, some places we might get kickback from some residents, some places it's no big deal, so that's why I said that may not move as quickly. But from South Main to Upper Lake, there's plenty of room, it's already laid out, seems like a no-brainer, a little bit of drainage improvements, and we have safe access sidewalk to go to this park, which I'm assuming is just gonna be beautiful. Walked it with Mr. Kelly Sunday to assess what possibly has to be corrected, and we'll know more tomorrow.
So from Tompkins to South Main, around Tompkins and
Yeah,
South-
ending right at the synagogue, you know, they have upheaved sidewalk and
Yeah.
bushes. Years ago, I had spoken to the rabbi, he has bushes that sort of encroach. He said, do whatever you want, if you give me a sidewalk for safe passage, I'll take the bushes out. I don't know if they're still gonna go with that, we don't really have a wide roadway there. That would be preferred, eliminate a few blocked sidewalks that are upheaving and really aren't passable, and bring it right to that corner and continue it from the end, the exit of, or entrance of the municipal parking lot, past Verizon, there's plenty of property, past the new, I'm gonna call it a rectory, or the new housing for the rabbi, and then come right to the corner. Because the conductivity was supposed to bring people from Main Street where they're shopping, enjoying themselves, going to restaurants, and get to the new recreation.
They come down both areas. And then we walked also, when we walked on the culvert, lower stagnant water, we'll have the county take a great.
Yeah, there are other, some drainage issues on South Main on the west side that we wanna clean up, eliminate, and replace that DI, which is right at the top, which has been, looks dangerous. It's right at the top by the entrance of Lake Road. And really make that corner appropriate. Solar project. It has been awarded. I did reach out to the current contractor along with the engineer. It came in about $40,000 under the award for the bid. And I said, we have a grant for $497. I want $40,000 worth of more electricity, give me more panels. So Jason Preisner is looking for other locations within the DRI district to add more panels to generate more electricity. And are we doing that tonight? We're doing that next. So we're gonna have to make a bond resolution. The finances of the village, during this construction period, the burden of gap lending is on the taxpayers. Although these grants have no match, but while you build it and pay for it, you get no reimbursement from the state until it is done. That is why it's necessary for the village to take out gap lending, to bond it, and then that loan is callable and gets paid back as soon as you get reimbursement from the state. But that interest is a burden of the village. I've reached out to multiple lenders for the best rate that we can get, and also trying to really think out of the box to get other agencies that might actually fund this gap lending to promote these projects. And hopefully they'll come to fruition. But right now, the lenders that we have been using have been very reasonable with their interest rates, and it hasn't been such a big burden. Unless you don't get the projects completed and signed off by the state, and you have to roll them over, then you're talking about multiple years of interest, which becomes more of a burden. So, next on the agenda. Any questions about any of those projects? Well, we should move to the smart growth. I just,
You're done with the bond, right?
Yeah.
no.
Yeah. He has-
Well, okay, we're just not gonna move, well, you want to do the bond resolution?
Yeah, that's how I'm looking for, the bond
Okay.
resolution.
So we need to take a bond resolution, it has to be a supermajority, 4 out of 5 in order to get the bond,
I had a question, quick question. What are the current rates?
4%. Actually, it was a little under 4%, most recently, 3.99.
Which is pretty fair in the commercial rates right now, especially in the.
And it's just a gap, it's just a short.
It's just a gap, and it's callable, so as soon as we get reimbursed from the state when they do their inspection on the project, we can call it, but I have one more, fingers crossed, funding agency that might help us with the gap lending because they have money. And they're a public lending agency for economic growth. And we met with them, actually, Mr. Adler and myself met with them on April 1st.
Good to hear.
Yeah, you have a motion?
I got a motion to approve it.
Motion for a bond resolution for the smart grant?
Yes.
Okay,
Anybody second?
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? So carried.
Congratulations.
We have a letter from Studio A. You guys have reviewed it.
Yep.
Do we have a motion to accept the doc?
Yeah.
If we start with that.
I, motion to accept that wonderful dock at a fair price, yes.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Do we have a motion to decline the rest of the bids, 1, 2, and 3?
I have a motion to decline until further review and no more bids coming in after the, closing of the vote.
So, then we'll have a reissuance of bids. Do we have a second to
Second,
review?
yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
Rebecca, second. All those in favor?
Aye.
So carried.
This is going too smooth.
All right.
This is for me.
I did it all good. You like it? Interpretive signage and trailhead signage, review samples. Any artists here in the crowd? Any comments on signage? Please, you're out of my purviews.
The grant is for a whole bunch of signage paid for, correct, Robin, by
By the DRI. What?
DEC and Paul. They're interpreted, which means birds, a little drive, a turtle,
What is this?
and that's all done here. Describe what the bathrooms are.
Turtle crossing, right?
Yes, and they described the two beaver in the lake that we say hello to every morning.
Do we have any discussion about the signage? No? Okay. So we're meeting with Studio A tomorrow. He's coming around 10, deal with stormwater. So he's meeting with the DEP first about the stormwater at the park site. He's gonna review the concrete, and then he'll probably want some input about the signage. So if you guys have any more thoughts, please bring them, stop by Rob and write them down, bring them to me, and we can proceed with that. Yes, sir.
Who designed the signage?
We're not the sign.
Studio A?
Studio A. Got a thumbs up.
You like him, right? Pretty good, man. He's that's a man.
Reorganization. I think everyone knows when there is a new year for the new term for the mayor, we go through reorganization and make appointments. You guys have a list of appointments in front of you. Can you go to the page of the reorganization, please? And the pen. I'm gonna fill in more.
What is that, something?
Where else are there appointments? ZBA members. Do we have any? Commissioner of Parks and Camp. volunteer to be a commissioner of parks?
I love parks. I would love to, being that I'm building the bathrooms, I'd love to be commissioner of the parks
Okay.
and recreation.
Anyone else wanna join him?
I'll join them.
Cody-
Work down there.
Cody's running the park right now.
I'm down there.
You're down there.
Thank you, Cody.
Nice. I don't think we need Cody. Well, we have it. Kelly and Cody. Publicity and events.
That's Adler's job. Is that okay with you, Rebecca?
I like the way you're making the appointments.
You wanna go you?
Yeah, either way.
Excuse me, I like the way you're
I
making
defer to you, I
appointments.
defer to you. Beautiful.
Rebecca's good?
I'm good for it.
That's great. I didn't hear a yes. though.
Yeah, I'm good for it, yes.
Oh, good.
Yes, yes.
I'm sorry, Rebecca.
So we have Robin Demont and Rebecca.
You got events, public works, sports.
Deputy Mayor will be George Kelly.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. I hope I prove myself well. I've never missed a meeting, but I'll tell you that much.
Hey, you guys have any questions as I'm going down the list? I was filling in some of these vacancies, if you have any questions about it. Feel free, otherwise I'm gonna make a motion to adopt the list that's in front of you with the additions that we just had.
Oh, I have a question. We have another ZBA member coming aboard?
We're gonna table that till next week.
Well, that's what I'm asking, because that's tabled.
Thank you, Mr. Adler, for going through the holiday calendar and making your best attempt to have as many little conflicts as possible with the meetings. Mr. Adler and his fancy time on the keyboards came up with our schedule of meetings.
So what the mayor's referring to is to minimize as many conflicts as possible, and so that we increase the cadence of meetings as a board, both for planning. Obviously, we'll have our monthly board meetings, but at least for planning, we'll be able to dovetail those on to board meetings as well. To be as consistent as possible, about every 2 weeks, we will have a meeting in the village, and it will consistently be on Thursdays. So, once we went with a day, we wanted to evaluate and see, are there any holiday conflicts that could potentially conflict with our Thursdays? And we've done a pretty good job of identifying 4 or 5 conflict holidays,
Yeah, many
and we worked
conflicts.
around it. So, Thursdays, every other Thursdays, you will see somebody aboard here.
Make a motion to adopt the reorganization as presented to the board members today with the additions that have been handwritten in.
Can I just ask one question with like, only because I'm on the learning curve, not because but just, to authorize the mayor to reinvest village monies and other grants for best interest rates, is that like public knowledge where we are investing our money?
Green County.
So it's
Yeah.
only there?
No.
There's a.
During,
Not the main bank, yeah,
if it is going to somewhere else, you will be notified.
okay, that's all I was
So,
asking about, yeah.
historically, what we do is because we collect our money in the beginning of the fiscal year,
Yeah.
sometimes banks give you an attractive
Right.
30 days,
Yeah,
60
yeah.
day, 90 day. It has been discouraged, but it is not illegal to invest out of your area if the interest rate is much higher.
Right. Take
There was a
advantage.
time during my tenure where we invested in banks that were in California to get 2 points more. And they were FDIC.
If we do that,
The
it's.
local banks
it's
got
public
annoyed.
notice.
Well, yeah.
Okay, that's all I wanted to know.
Transparency
Yeah,
helps.
it's transparency, thank you, that's
Oh,
perfect, thank you,
yeah.
that's all I was, it's not.
Yeah, you collect the money up
Thank
front,
you.
you try to gain as much.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And you'll see in the
absolutely.
budget, there is a interest income on monies
Okay.
as a revenue.
Yeah, I just wanted clarification on
Yeah.
that before we voted, thank
Sure.
you.
I made a motion. Who seconds?
Second.
Second? All those in favor?
Aye.
So, did we do the meeting? We did. Make a motion. I think everyone during this recent campaign went around to visitors. There seems to be large concerns of public safety from pedestrian and traffic. There has been a historic outcry from voters to increase street lighting. They said that they live in a village, and if they wanted to live in Jewett in the country without any street lights, they would have lived in Jewett. But they live in a village, and that was from summer residents, full-time residents, me, all over the place, Mr. Kelly. It was hard to keep track. It was much like the signage People want night sky, people want bright sky, people want no lights, they want more lights. So in the areas that receive the enormous amount of complaints on lighting, we walked it, called up Central Hudson, and have, making a motion to adopt 17 new streetlights located on Park Lane, Spring Street, and Tompkins Street, primarily with main access into the park.
I would gladly.
And there will be LED lights, and theoretically will be offset by the solar project, so it's really not a burdensome cost to the taxpayer.
I would second that.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion before we vote? No. All those,
What's the cost of the streetlights?
I'm sorry?
What's the cost of one of those 17 streetlights?
Oh, they're LED, they're like $7 a month, but on expected.
No, it's installed.
They're already installed, they just gotta be turned back
Installed, we
on.
rent them.
Oh, are you putting the Senate stuff coming off of the?
Yeah, off the existing
So
poles.
it's reactivating.
This is turning them back on.
existing
Yes,
streetlights.
and they're 25 watts, the cost.
Yeah, no, I was just curious, you said, I thought you were installing 17.
Yeah.
And the
No,
lowest
reactivating.
LED cost, we're not spending $300 per light bulb. Nope, no contention.
Okay, just curious.
All right, procurement policy. I guess
You're it.
I think I would be guilty. Procurement policy is 30 years old. So I think things cost a little bit more than the 30-year-old procurement policy, so I'd like a little discussion on, procurement policy is internal controls of the village office and this board to make purchases, for highway people to make purchases, what type of bidding process we do in order to either buy equipment or provide services and how many things. And it's laid out in a state format, but those numbers have not been updated in 30 years. It was brought to my attention that $200 doesn't get you a lot anymore, so the attempt to get 3 bids for $200 maybe is a little bit
Onerous.
So, any recommendations? Mr. Adler, start.
To begin with, it's the dollar amount for each.
That'd be good.
Under $100, multiple quotes encouraged but not required. You can make the argument for $250, and I wouldn't push back on it.
Should we make 250? I think
Wrong?
wrong, not make it much higher than that. Listen,
No, we're not.
if we're gonna have multiple quotes for $500, $1,000, nothing will ever get done in this village. It has to be an amount where there is no grab, there is no theft, there is no quid pro quo. I mean, if we need a $2,000 repair, let's say DPW's boiler right now. If we have to get 3 bids, let's say for $4,000, and the guy said freezing cold, and it takes a month and a half to get the bids, somebody's sitting in the cold.
That's emergency at that point, you don't have to actually get the bids on an emergency project like that, it's a little more on, and you may wanna, before you go too high, just kinda take a look at where the state's levels are set at right now.
That's a good point, and I would also advocate for having the opportunity for smaller operators to be included in the bid process when there are new players in the field, somebody like Rooted as a new business, that a smaller business, maybe they could, like, that's just one example, but if there are bids that somebody could participate in on a smaller level as an up and coming business.
Or instead of like a $30,000 grant pay, in other words,
Yeah, that's so that they're accessible thresholds, to diversify the
Right, so-
options. Because if they get too high of an entry level, then you just have the same players over and over for already established businesses.
We don't have a minimum bid on it, we just have a public bid process.
But you're talking about sending out quotes, like,
Exactly.
yeah, like contacting 3 places for a quote. But so it just means that you can shoot for more diversity
Oh, yeah.
of businesses. That's what I'm advocating for.
What do you got with 5,000?
It's
Right here.
documented telephone. We can list the 250 to 1,000 documented. We have it something like 1,000. It's increasing the dollar.
No, absolutely, we should at least triple or double that.
So start here.
They're so heated with
Which we raised this.
So
So what else did you have on your rundown?
Just gut reaction, 250 to 1,000 would be documented. Telephone quotes, doesn't have to be written.
No, I think up to
1,000 to 5,000 would be documented written. 5,000 and up for sealed bids. Haven't been around long enough to see if that's too low or too high, but it passes my sniff test.
I would advocate for 1,500 as a threshold.
For sealed bids?
Look at the
No, no,
numbers
no,
now.
no, no, the program.
Oh, instead of 1,000
Yeah,
for
yeah, just
15,
because I
yeah.
feel like a lot of things come in at 1,500.
I wouldn't argue with that. I wouldn't argue
It's
with
like
that.
an,
Yeah.
it's like a generic.
There's a sample of numbers that Middletown uses.
To 5,000.
Um,
No, 10,000. 10,000, yep.
a good range.
Yeah.
And then anything over 10,000, you go to the typical minimum rate.
Packet right after. First page of
So you're done with
it.
that. Yeah, you're done.
They use 0 to 2,000
10,000
for,
is sealed bid.
2,000 is also, yeah.
and then 2,000 to 4,000.
2,000 to 5,000 high.
Yep, and then, or yeah, 5,000. And then 5,000 for us.
Yeah, I would support
Would be
that as
sealed.
well.
So that's their floor for sealed.
No, 5,000 to 20,000 is written price quote, supplier, it has nothing in here about sealed or not.
It's their sample. It's just like.
How do we do over there?
What do
Trustees?
you got over here?
We're
Just
looking
looking at the
Middletown's
Middletown,
comparison.
numbers.
Oh, good, you are.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So I was thinking theirs are backwards.
Yeah, those are written in the other order, but,
So
I mean,
I was considering up to 1,000, combining the top two, 0 to 1,000.
Yeah, you eliminate both of them.
You know, just combine the top two. Telephone
Quick
quotes,
comment?
up to 1,000.
Two things. First of all, I feel like with your ideas, you could also limit the, meaning up to 1,000 twice a month, and then if it happens more than twice in a month. then
Yeah,
you
I'm
could
trying to
limit.
just use our format of the law that we already have in place,
But also, is there a way?
and just change those parameters.
Okay, and then when you're procuring the larger bids, since you're going a lot of online, including the feed, maybe you could start having a bid tab online where any new stuff that comes up that you procure bids for, other than your regular people who you reach out to and let them know.
So,
Where anyone can go on
the
Tannersville.
easiest way to handle taking online bids is to actually post with the Department of State. They have the process already there.
They got a whole
In
list.
any
I
municipality.
just want to post it, people can mail it in, but post it so people can see what bids are available, don't call the office like, hey, is there anything up? Anything that's up.
No, everything is
Tab.
posted, everything legally posted. What
Just-
Mr. McGonagall's talking about, I'll give you an example to the whole public right now. For $251, documented written quotes from at least 3 vendors for $251 worth of work. That's ridiculous. That's a pair of
So
sneakers.
we
I'm
had to
wearing.
raise that to 1,000, because I think we could buy a bolt or a blade for a lawnmower without having 3 requests of 3 vendors.
So that's where
Even
you-
if we put it online and.
So Mr.
post it to
McGonagall
the-
is trying to change a procurement law that is
To make it
handcuffing
easier
him
to
and
do
the board.
business. Yeah.
So we're comfortable with that?
Yes.
Yeah, I would be comfortable with 1,500 or even 2,000.
2,000?
Yeah.
Raise that to 2,000.
2,000.
Yeah.
To make it the ease of doing business.
Yes, and would you like 10,000 for the next level, you
Oh, I
want
don't know, I've
20,000?
gotten there yet.
That's basically the model of Middletown.
Because even at 10,000, it's not a lot of work today, where you need 3 sealed bids and you gotta go through a month and a
All
half.
right, next month, what we're gonna do is just, I'm gonna fill these in with actual numbers. You guys have. it all
Proposal,
right?
Yeah, I can have
proposal,
that.
it would be
Yeah.
good to work from a proposal,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to start the process, because there's a lot to uncover,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, inflation exists.
and I just figured I would just keep throwing it on the agenda, so we could get that,
We got the 2,000 right now.
And, yeah, let's look at what we already have.
All right, we have short-term rental law, which, I think has been beaten to death in this community. Did the town actually adopt that law?
Yeah, the town is adopted the short-term rental.
I'm sorry?
Yes,
They did. The,
a little over a year ago.
okay, a little over a year ago. It was always my premise that our law should mimic the town law. Then it was brought to my attention from lawyers that we have a zoning law.
You
So-
do?
All right, I'm not debating with you, this is what was brought to my attention.
I know,
That our law should be more cohesive with an existing zoning law that's already in place, so that they are more compatible
where they
than.
can, yeah, where they can match, they should, absolutely.
And that it'd be slightly different, more than, Airbnbs would actually come to this governing body for their special use permit under our zoning law, and then that's how they would operate, although the
So if you do that, then what you're doing is you're gonna put a lot more work on yourselves
Yep.
instead of on the code enforcement office.
Well, it still is gonna require the inspection, and yeah, but then obviously it would be very transparent, they would all come to this board with their
Yeah,
proposal, with their home, it's a small
Right.
enough village, and we are not the town size-wise,
right.
and,
What you may wanna do though, is you may wanna, like, as like we talked about earlier with the town, we set like an occupancy level where you can just go and get that special use permit versus an occupancy level that would require a site plan review. And the reason you may wanna do that is because you get into like those parking situations and things like that, where.
well, I think it was addressed in this special use though, even though it didn't become part of site plan.
Yeah,
So we have two laws that are very much identical, one by the former village attorney and one by the other former attorney. So they were reviewing each other's work. It is desperate that it gets done. They're in our hands. Maybe we could have some more comments. And we attached in your packet the minutes. Ms. Fitting had also requested it in the packet, the minutes from the public hearing that was already held under the former administration, be part of the review of this new board.
Thank you for that.
So that they would be put in there. So we have the laws, those minutes. Please bring your comments maybe by next week if possible, otherwise we'll put it off to next month. And then we'll start planning a final public hearing, and we should have a document
Yeah.
ready for the summer season, which I think is our onus before we get busy again, to protect the homeowners who have been burdened with a few bad actors. Not the industry, but a few bad actors. So I'm saying that because I've only been approached by, no, 6 or 7 property owners that are under constant harassment by a few bad actors. So we'd love to resolve that and clean it up and make it better and safer, and it's our job to get that accomplished.
I'm first gonna disclose that I have short-term rentals, but I don't think it's a conflict for me to be part of this conversation. I went through the minutes and cross-referenced it with the draft of the law that I had, and I put together a summary of I don't know if you want it or not, but a summary of the things that multiple people expressed or that came up,
Do we have a
And-
conflict?
yeah, so I have that if you want it.
Okay.
I don't know the
I'd love it.
process of doing all this.
You should get it to all the board members.
Yeah, I don't know how to do that yet, in terms of circulating things, but, or what's allowed. So,
Robin's gonna copy it, but she'll email it or scan it.
Yeah, but there were a number of things that, so the meeting that we had last October was very well attended, and it was very engaging, and there was a lot of overlap of what people expressed in person and in written comments. And so I noted in my notes where multiple people expressed, and then I also noted, just that all of the things that I could find that came up that weren't something that would be obviously addressed by like the code enforcement officer. You know, like, what's the legal definition of a bedroom? Well, that's just the law, just as defined. So I didn't include things like that. Things that seemed actionable for us to discuss incorporating into the law. So I can send this around to people. I just don't know how to do that yet because we started today.
So, great. I did promise the voters that we would have it on the first meeting.
Yeah.
That's as far as I'm looking at one resident, that's as far as I could get at this point.
But I think it's
Because we
important.
certainly don't want to adopt one, and that's not to single out anyone, but it was, we have to get moving
Yeah.
before the summer
But it's
season.
important to note how much engagement there was in the meeting last October and make sure that we don't lose the feedback that was collected there, and that's what I wanted to try to.
Well,
provide.
they're gonna come out.
Yeah. But I'm saying in terms of the next draft that we go forward, if we can incorporate the feedback and the work that was already done by the community into the next draft.
I'm not sure if the administration here would take the administration's past views, that's a problem.
Yeah.
So maybe the new public meetings will supersede the past, because unfortunately there is a new administration and then there is a new public coming out, so the feedback's very important, but
Yeah.
everything gets superseded by the
Yeah.
next public hearing to begin with, so
Yeah,
that
I
would be
see.
a moot question.
Yeah, I'm just hoping that we start with a good draft, that's all.
Sewer law.
Way more exciting.
I attended the CWC meeting out in Margaretville on April 1st, their annual meeting. people familiar with the CWC. If you're not, it doesn't really pertain to a lot of people in this room, but they do have amazing programs, although the one most important that would pertain to this room for anyone running businesses, they do give economic loans at an interest lower rate for businesses, and that even applies to refinancing. I was approached at the meeting by the head of the DEP to please have a discussion with him about our sewer law prior to making any adjustments to it to avoid any conflict. So I've set up a meeting to meet with the DEP, make a minimum of appropriate adjustments to our sewer law, which wholeheartedly I will not change, is incorrect, is not accurate, and is overbearing to the welfare of this community. So I will not go off that, but out of a courtesy, I said I would meet with him personally without attorneys to decide what their temperature is as far as how we can improve on this law, which would be appropriate and consistent with the memorandum of agreement, which I signed in 1997. That vision is never gonna get lost in my mind, and nor will I ever bend off of it for them. City has certain requirements, the village has certain requirements, municipalities have certain ones. So that meeting will be very soon, early May at the latest, and we're just trying to compare schedules, and they reached out formally today to the village to make sure that that meeting happens. My mission is only to ensure that every parcel, according to our zoning document, in the village of Tannersville, is allowed to connect to the wastewater treatment plant per the original agreement of 1924 and per the memorandum and the vision of that agreement. So that's what it's about. So rather than get into litigation and adjust the law, they asked to please come and visit. And that's all I can tell you at this point.
And that's appropriate.
What's this? New York State, LCM. Who's here for that? Mr. Cashman, I'm sorry you had to go through this whole meeting. It looks like you're up.
Right, I don't believe there's really a presentation. I think it was a letter sent from potential tenants of mine to the board.
You're the landlord?
I would be the landlord in this case. But if there were any comments, I think was what, honestly, I have not seen the letter. I don't know what the letter requests, but it was their duty to kind of tell the municipality that this was their intention and they're seeking a license.
Sorry then I thought maybe you were here for that.
Does he have any pre-application, applications pending, anything going on? Just for the sake of talking.
Yeah, I mean, they are in queue, they needed a location. So this is a notice of location.
Yeah, they had a queue number for a while, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's Buzz.
Is it getting cold in here?
Yeah.
Is it getting chilly?
Where is it from?
Make a motion, get a new
No.
boiler.
3 days.
So this is kind of like, yes,
It
the
would be
liquor authority sends a letter,
like
it
the
just
liquor authority
puts
noticing
this on
that this would be.
notification.
That's where I was going with that.
For transparency, because my views have not changed. Years ago, when I think Mr. Cashman was on the board also, the village of Tannersville decided not to opt out of retail cannabis. And we are seemingly the only community in Greene County that did not opt out. No?
Catskill
Catskill
has an
has
existing, they have an existing store right now across from Burger
Only
King.
municipality on the mountain.
The only municipality on the map, correct. I think originally Catskill did opt out and then
But
went
they
back.
opted back in.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Which was kind of like what, like even
Yeah, I
with
think
town
it was
hall, that was the recommendation we made to
Yes.
the town was to opt out then.
Too late then.
If they wanted to make a law later to, you can opt back in, once you've opted in, you can't opt back out of your
Yes.
stuff.
And Catskill store is doing very badly.
Yeah.
It is, very badly. We're gonna welcome some new weed shops.
Thank you, Mr. Cashman. Sorry,
That's all right.
I didn't really even get to the part of it.
I miss you.
Hunter Foundation, village cleanup. We thought we would do it in July, we used to do it. The preliminary plan is to have community cleanup and set up recycling bins here on the village parking lot, to recycle where either DPW men, volunteers, homeowners could bring stuff to the village and the county would get to empty the containers after they're full. We should do community cleanup. We are planning on, I'm planning on sending a letter. A little more civic pride is gonna help protect all our lifestyles. So I thought we would put a letter out. Please participate. Please take care of your properties. Participate, help us, help Tannersville beautify. We are a beautiful community on top of the mountain. And if people need help, if they need assistance because of their situation, I think people would even look into doing that either with volunteers or the assistance of the village. But I walked every square inch of this village. There's attention that needs to be put in by our own crews, which is on us. There's attention that needs to be put on by own property owners. Maybe they do not have the means or the ways, or they're have problems addressing it. But I think it's important that we take pride in our community. So we should at least step forward and give them an opportunity to bring any of that stuff here.
Good job.
And we thought July, when the village is the busiest, we would do it. I said earlier that we were gonna start revisiting, Hunter Foundation request, 5K race, give us more events.
Oh, bring it on.
Four supervisors asked to sit here and listen to us all night long.
Great.
He does nothing in public.
Well,
service.
it-
Poor man.
It depends on Robert, he got it in
Thank
there.
you. And first of all, I just want to say congratulations to all of you, and I look forward to working with you with all my hats. All right, so, so yeah, I come today talking about the Catskills Mudder Run. And essentially, this is just a concept to get people here during the mud season, during the off season. And I hope it's pretty low impact, but low impact to people's quality of life, but high impact to the economy of the village. So essentially what this is, and I did send this to Robin, it's gonna be a 5K race that originates at the clubhouse at Colonial. It goes down Ellen Road, makes a left onto the bike path, and then it will go straight out past the boathouse, up Lake Road, back down South Main, and then making a right back onto the bike path, and then straight up Allen Road where the finish will be at the clubhouse. So the idea, it's a 5K. This is not a marathon. It's not an all-day event. We're planning to have registration at 9:30 in the morning with a start at 11 a.m. For most people, a 5K is done fairly quickly, and the idea is that these people come and they go into the village, and they, have lunch at one of the variety of places. This is in partnership with Scrivener's Catskill Lodge, with Deer Mountain Inn, and other local businesses, including Mama's Boy Burgers, and certainly the Hunter Foundation is playing a large role. But there will be an evening event at Scrivener's that night. But I've also spoke to Sergeant Haynes about traffic. We don't anticipate any road closures at all. And Sergeant Haynes says there will be minimal necessary need for traffic control, given the time of day, where it is, etc. So certainly wanted to make the village aware. Love your participation if we're going to be there that day, May 10th, and certainly here to answer any questions.
Yeah, well, to start, thank you for every event that you can. But doesn't Tannersville make the headlines too?
Oh, all the time.
No, but I mean, it says Town of Hunter, New York, and it's taking place in mostly Tannersville.
Oh, that can be corrected. No, that can be corrected. How can we endorse it? It says the town.
I didn't design this.
No, it was a
Whoever
softball.
designed that should be fired.
Yeah, well, you know, the politically correct thing is as Tannersville, we're all part of the town of Hunter.
No, when I get when I get my tax bills in
As
Tannersville.
long as we're in Town of Hunter, Tannersville 5K race, then we're all connected.
Yeah, that's right.
Well,
Also,
Can we add that? Can you talk to your constituents?
I can definitely make
Squeeze that in?
change.
You have to get that in.
Hopefully.
John, from somebody that's done a million events, it has got to say Tanners.
We'll make it
Excuse me.
happen.
It has to
We'll
say.
make
The
it happen.
town of Hunter.
I wasn't being petty, I think it's a
is-
marvelous
The
thing.
town of Hunter could be Plainsville.
Right, I mean,
God.
but it does say Tannersville, that's where the event
I know, it
is.
says at the bottom. It's gotta be in the top billing.
Wait a minute, I gotta be really serious here. If Mark Shodak or anybody at Scribner wants to do this and use the town of Hunter for his own benefit, and he's gonna come to Tannersville and sit here while we pay Tannersville taxes as villagers, I think it's Buck of the Rotary. I called the other night and supported you wholly until I just saw this. I'm actually livid. Tell him to put Tannersville in here, because I'll tell you why. He can have his party up there, he can do what he wants here, but we are Tannersville. We fought to keep Tannersville the past year, and I'll be damned if it doesn't say Tannersville here, otherwise I wouldn't support this if you paid me, and I was a supporter as of a day and a half ago. Right now, if it doesn't say Tannersville, I will not support it.
Village.
Village, excuse me. You got
We
me
will,
confused.
we will make that change.
It's actually insulting.
Thank you.
Some logistical questions, support volunteers from the high school, track and field team, table.
So we are gonna have some volunteers from the high school, and all of the proceeds of this is going to benefit the Hunter Tannersville Central Booster Club, which is supportive of the athletics of the school. To answer your question, about 100. If we get 100, that'll be great for the first event.
How about if we try to give out some local prizes? Maybe we get some more local people, make sure that they're really getting in it. I know we wanna bring outsiders, but you know.
I'll give you $1,000.
We gotta have some good
I'll give you
athletes.
$1,000. I'll give you $1,000 from resident Tannersville for first place. I'll give you $1,000, George Kelly in the village of Tannersville. I will give you $1,000. Is that fair enough?
I appreciate your generosity. But everyone's gonna get a medal. This isn't really about winning, you know, like, we want people to walk the 5K. We want people to run the 5K. And I do think that there's gonna be a time and a place, maybe, in the future for that. But I don't think this time, you know, we need it, but thank you. This is essentially, is just about getting people to come here and to have a good, you know, time, really, in Tannersville. It's always intended to be Tannersville.
Hey, in case, which I think you're gonna be successful, what is our parking plan?
The parking plan is all fully on Colonial Golf Course property. So we have the whole right-hand side
Yeah, I know.
of Allen Road.
That fits quite a few spots.
It does, and we
But
also
just in case.
fully all the way down, we can park people all the way down Allen Road.
Because the
on right-hand
registration is
side.
there, so people have to start there anyway,
Yeah.
so they're gonna park right, they're gonna
Absolutely.
park
You
right
can
there.
I just wanted to make sure you had it, because who knows, if it's a gorgeous day and people say we're coming, the more the
Yeah.
better. Build it and they will come.
Absolutely.
Ambulance
it's not
support from
gonna
the
be-
town is gonna be on.
Don't get me going.
Ambulance support from the town is always on.
That's ambulance only, or you have like rescue and stuff?
No, ambulance there is not necessary for an EMS plan at this. So if anything occurs, Hunter Ambulance can respond to wherever that is.
Call is going.
Yeah.
And when you said everybody gets a medal, there's no first, second, and
No.
third place?
That's what I meant. First, second, third place.
Not everybody in the race.
No, it's not a participation trophy type
That's
deal.
what I was worried about.
Yeah. What's that?
You have age groups?
Yeah, there will be age groups, but I think it'll just be,
Participating in, is there gonna be any advertisement along this 5K, you know, for, let's say, for mama burgers, brave the flames for, and the businesses that are
No,
on
not
Main
along the
Street?
5K, but there will be there will be like a handout at the clubhouse when people register.
About all the restaurants and shops in the village.
What's that? Along the route?
The most of the route is along residential roads or the bike path, so
Yeah.
like I would actually personally advocate against that, just because it's like not the right place to put ads.
Yeah.
It's not like doing a T-sponsor for it.
Exactly.
We're looking to attract people to come here to
But
local
maybe
businesses.
businesses
So
there.
any
Yeah.
local restaurant, like the pantry or.
Certainly, I mean-
Last Chance should have a sign over there, so people who are running here are not from here.
Right.
Can actually be like, oh, later on, let's go to one of those places. This isn't like, it's not gonna be up there for 2 weeks. It's not an advertisement like a permanent. You're not putting up a sign.
That's what
It's
I'm saying,
ruining the area.
what's gonna bring them
We're running it for
from
3
down there
hours.
up here onto Main Street? Is there gonna be some kind of map, or you say you're gonna hand a brochure list all the businesses?
It's really, it's not gonna be like a brochure, and certainly, I'm not saying that there's gonna be
We don't want the clubhouse.
a business directory. But it'll be visit the shops, you know, it'll be visit the shops in
And
Tannersville.
Are these businesses sponsoring this in any way?
No,
Yeah, so nobody's really sponsoring.
Nobody's
So then there would be
sponsoring
no terms for advertising.
correct.
Okay.
Gotcha, thank you.
It's cool.
Thank you, and,
I hope it's huge.
I like all this visionary stuff.
Thanks.
Keep us on the map.
We're trying.
I have to apologize, but
And thank you, Karen, for all the years of keeping us on the map.
I have to apologize, but after our conversation, I had no idea, it only said Arthur. I'm not trying to insult you.
Yeah, he's gonna fix it.
No, it'll say Tannersville.
Thank you, Sean.
All right, thank you.
Privilege of the floor. And we're gonna do a quick add-in for 2 seconds on technology. Mr. Smear is gonna address the board. There are new regulations on the state that all emails for the village will be changing. They will become .gov for each one of the elected officials, for each of the departments, along with some other website concerns, and trying to improve technology, like I stated earlier, to have all these meetings live and actually interactive. So you can be home saying, hey, Lee, what are you talking about?
Alright, so,
Board.
just to kind of go through a couple of things. So we have already applied for and been approved for our .gov address. So we now own the address. We've been working with.
What is the domain?
It's,
At Tannersville.gov.
Tannersvilleny.gov.
One at the town.
Rolls off
No,
the top.
townhunter.gov, I already.
You already got it.
It's a joke with
Yeah,
the.
At Tannersville?
I'm sorry?
At Tannersville?
It's gonna be Tannersville, New York, NY, Tannersvilleny.gov is going to be the address.
Got it.
Now, so with that, the, next step is going to work on now, I'm working with them to get the DNS set up. That's the first thing that actually has to happen. That basically filing with the post office, alright? DNS is, what the DNS does, it says send, anything that says this to the actual number address. The number address is what the internet actually works off of, we just work off of what we can. So, they're going to work on that hopefully soon, and get them the information so that they can, but they'll get that set up first. Once that is set up, there's 2 things that we need to do. One of them is we'll need to migrate our website over to the new domain. But that probably isn't really more of, it's probably gonna be more of a repointing than a migration.
The website will remain as it is.
Yeah,
The domain name will handle all traffic.
right.
Any references to the old TannersvilleNY.com
Move forward.
We will redirect.
Yeah.
will redirect.
Now, until the DNS is done, I can't start the work to start setting up the new email addresses. That has, the DNS has to happen first. There's a couple other things we need to do to make email addresses. So, the plan is to, over the next couple of weeks, start working on this and start working on getting actual real email addresses for you guys. With that being said, just for understanding purposes, for those of you that are new especially, understand that emails are foilable documents.
Yes, sir.
Okay? You're not, so understand that you want to be really cautious with what communications you're making with emails while you're on non-village owned email addresses. Because where not only is the email address itself foilable, but the devices that you use to access those email addresses become foilable.
You buy 2 phones.
I'm not telling anybody to buy 2 phones, I'm just giving you, like, I'm basically kind of letting you know where state law comes on this, so you have to understand. Be cautious with what you're communicating right now. The less you communicate in the short term, the better you are. Once we get you onto your village-owned addresses, and the protocols are gonna work with using Office 365 and all of that, we can simplify some of this for you guys. But, in the meantime, just kind of keep it in mind when you're communicating. And I hate to do this to Robin, but coming down and dropping something off to her to communicate right this second is probably, if you have a question about it, it's probably the preferable method to do things in the short term.
Will there be a point in time that maybe the village will buy separate phones, or somebody will not get indicted, somebody will have a federal affidavit served upon at their front door, which has happened to me, and that maybe we can have
So,
phones supplied?
Typically, in most, non-large government entities, employees that need to do a lot of communication and are mobile employees, not sitting in an office, are provided with some kind of device, whether it's a phone or something along those lines.
Thank you.
But it is not something that is typically done for board members.
But being that the supposed offense, and it's very easy to get indicted when you're on a public domain name on your private phone, anything that you put on other Gmails, you can get indicted, you can get in prison, so you have to actually watch
You should always,
everything you do.
that's just that you do something that's illegal, like, just don't do something illegal.
Some people are not usually do things illegally.
Can I ask a question that's not having to do with the
Yeah.
flow stuff? So this isn't just for the trustees, we're talking about the village clerk
The
is gonna
village
have a
clerk is going to have a new
address.
email
Cause
address.
that kind of thing where it's communication with the public and making things more systematized is more what's interest to me than where, when
One of
I.
the things we're going to be doing is we're going to have a legit,
Yeah, we're growing up.
Tannersville.gov email address
Yeah.
for the clerk.
Great.
For your
So public
works
correspondence
person.
to and from residents
Yes.
will go through an official email address,
Exactly, so
not
it
Gmail
will
going
look
forward.
more official
Great.
all the way through, and it'll take
That's
care of
great.
some of those questions that happen to come up.
Yeah.
So, all of that is, that's one step of the things that we need to do, is we're working on websites, email addresses, that's part one. I'm also working on putting together a budget. It may need to be a budget that may have to be enacted over a couple of years with the amount of equipment that needs to happen and stuff like this, but we can talk about, once I have it put together, we can talk about priorities, what the board's priorities are, what the office staff's priorities are, and determine what gets bought. But we, right now, our IT infrastructure, there are things that we need to deal with, and I'm gonna come up with that plan for you. I won't talk about the specific issues in a public session. If you want that, we can do that in executive session, because some of them create security concerns, just discussing.
And they're on new higher standards of security, also a whole initiative, so I have empowered him to proceed with this proposal, and then he will bring it to us when he has all the corrections and the plan, he will bring it to the board in executive session, so we don't have to articulate
Right.
anything as far as that, but he has been empowered to do that.
Okay.
Along with, him and Carl have committed to really take over planning portion of the work for the village.
Good.
They're two that have all the requirements, the expertise, honorable people, so they will be taking that burden off Robin. So if you're doing projects, you're looking for approvals in the future, in the near future, almost immediate future, you will be referred immediately. I'm gonna change the phone system
Yeah.
so that all those phone calls are deferred to Mark, to Carl for questions on zoning, for questioning on site plan, for questioning on signage. And these things will be deferred to them, they will bring it to this board for final approval and for review, but they will be doing all the preliminary stuff along with their expertise input, so that is off Robin. And as you know, because you have all read the handbook, and I've been a little bit redundant, only because it is a large board, and there is a lot of work, and we have very active elected board members with a lot of good ideas that want to be part of the process, that it really gets funneled either here at the board meeting, me directly to Robin, rather than totally inappropriate for all of you four guys to go to Robin and say, hey, can I look at this, can you get me that, give me this? That is not appropriate.
Yeah, and when I'm saying go to Robin right now, I'm saying for you to give her information to disseminate, not to be asking for her.
Right,
you
yes,
know,
yes, yeah. Well,
not to
but I'm
overwhelm.
just reiterating that so people understand how the mechanism, we're trying to improve it, which was a concern of board members.
Yeah.
How do we improve communication? How do we take certain responsibilities that seem to be all centered on Robin, off her plate and
So,
make it
yeah,
manageable?
so we're gonna work on getting myself a voicemail so that the messages can get to me.
All of that going directly to you.
Yeah, and we'll work out a plan for how I can take over some of those things from her. There's certain things that, just because of timing, public hearing notices will probably have to stay with her just because of timing, but.
Yeah, but that's one quick note from you to Robin.
exactly.
Post this.
So, but yeah, so that's the plan. I'm working on getting the quotes put together for you guys right now. It's not gonna be cheap, just tell you up front, it's not.
That's the IT reality of today.
Yeah, that's the reality. I mean, the reality is when you look at our security program right now, there's some stuff. And then on top of it, if we wanna do the meeting stuff in this room, I can put together some plans for like, you're gonna want a screen and you're gonna want cameras and all that kind of stuff.
Make that as a separate piece.
Yep,
Not tying it together.
outside of the IT, yeah, absolutely.
Because right now we have it filmed and it will be on YouTube.
Yep.
So hopefully that satisfies some of the concerns of the public that can't make it here. And that's gonna have to be temporarily, and to tell you the truth, everything else that has to be done, that will not be the immediate budget.
Right.
If it's a budget concern, it can be backburning, because at least we're live recording those meetings. And I've given my cell phone out to every constituent, so if they wanna call, just call.
So that's my IT report.
That's great.
If you guys have concerns or thoughts or questions, absolutely reach out to me. I have no problem with
And
that.
you do not have to go through me to him. Just go to him.
With IT stuff specifically, you're probably better off not playing telephone.
Right. Privilege of the floor.
I just have one question, one quick question, so that I don't have to ask Robin later, because that's what we just talked about. So next Monday's meeting, are we gonna receive information in advance to review so that we can, because it always takes me a minute to absorb information, so, or is it just gonna be like, at the meeting, we're gonna figure it out?
No, depending on how it goes, it's kind of a short week, but statutorily, I have to give you a budget by Monday.
Okay.
So I'm
Will-
hoping to get that.
Will we see something to review before Monday?
Yeah, I mean, it could be like today, it could be 12 o'clock on Monday, and then you come back at 6 o'clock to review the
Yeah,
budget.
but we don't have a system for disseminating communications, I'm just
No,
asking how we're gonna organize
I'd
ourselves.
come in Monday and
for
get
that?
the proposed budget.
You would?
I would come in Monday and get the proposed.
So earlier in the day.
Correct.
So then I have time to review it and
Correct.
wrap my head around it, okay. I said, I'm not good like coming to the meeting, having to be on.
No, and we're not adopting a budget that night either.
Yeah.
It's just a presentation with a few surface questions, and then you have 2 weeks to review it.
Okay, thank you.
Will not be adopted that day. It's just statutory to present you with a proposed budget.
Vote is gonna be May 1st.
Has to be adopted by May 1st.
And then 2 weeks.
Privilege of the floor. Thank you, everyone. Make a motion to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.